Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. She is a real estate voice and the owner broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate. Barb, most home buyers are searching on those big national websites, Zillow, Realtor.com, and Homes.com. But is that really the best way for home buyers to find the best homes here in Colorado?
Well, the unfortunate truth is they don't know, right? And they do everything, the younger generation, even people my age, they search on their phone or on their iPad or whatever. When they're starting to look for a home, a lot more stuff is done online than it was even 10 years ago. And so buyers don't know how it works. They'll see it and they'll go, "Oh, I like that house. Okay, I want to go see it," without any preparation of the whole concept of buying a home and what it takes to buy a home. So there's a big level of education that I think the buyers need. And even people that have bought homes before, when they're buying a home in a different market, it could be very different. So I think it's good to hire a real estate agent to help you. But the sad part is a lot of these agents aren't trained to handle a buyer. And that's why I kind of joke around and call them overpaid door openers, because maybe these agents will connect with an agent through Zillow or some of these big box websites, right? And this is kind of how it works. The buyer thinks he's reaching out to the agent that has the listing so they could get some information. But the truth is, that's not who they're talking to. They end up getting direct connected to somebody from that platform that sold leads to an agent that's buying buyer leads, right? So buyers want to see houses, not knowing that there's really a process to this, and agents want a sale. So they try to give the buyers what they want. So the conversation goes like this: "Hey, I'd like to see that home. Is it available?" And the agent doesn't know anything about it. So they look it up. "Okay, let me check. Oh, yeah, it's available. Would you like to see it?" So the very first meeting, in many times, is at the front door. They don't know if these buyers can buy a couch on Craigslist. They don't know what these buyers want. They don't know if these buyers are qualified. And so what ends up happening is the agent opens the door, they go look at it, ooh, ah, and oh, it wasn't the right house. Oh, yeah, it didn't have this, it didn't have that. And then essentially they break up. And so that's why I call them Pop-Tart agents, because they pop out of the toaster, show up at the house, and if the house doesn't meet the criteria that the buyer wants, they break up. We tested it for a year. I wanted to know if it worked. I was paying for leads on Zillow. One time Zillow sent us out there to meet a buyer, and another agent showed up to show the same buyer the same house. Zillow doesn't care. They're just making money on it. So that is not the right way to go about it, in my view. And, there's a lot of homes that are actually being sold out there that are sold to cash buyers or sold privately. They never hit the market. We've got one under contract right now that never went on the market, but an agent on my team had the buyer. So the other buyers didn't get a chance to see this, but it was the right buyer for that house. And that's exactly what the seller wanted, right? So actually what happens is some of the best deals for buyers never appear on the market, right? I even put one under contract 10 days ago that had a bidding war a month ago, and 2 days before closing, this cash buyer just arbitrarily changed their mind and walked away. So I went back to the pool of buyers that had made an offer a month ago and had another bidding war on the same house and never went back on the market, right? So most buyers think that everything that's available is out there on Zillow and Realtor.com, and that is just not true. There are probably 7% of home sellers that sell by owner. And sometimes they'll put them on Zillow, sometimes they don't. They'll just stick a sign in the yard. Sometimes they'll tell their neighbors, and all of a sudden their neighbor wants to buy it. But actually, it's reached a point. One of my colleagues gave me the statistic that 28% of home sellers are selling their homes to cash buyers because they don't want to deal with the hassle of having all these random people come through your house, pick, criticize your home, get a contract, and then beat you up on concessions all the way to the finish line. It's just an experience that most people really don't like, but it's the unfortunate way that it works. And for buyers, buying a home is actually is full of emotion, right? It's one of the biggest investments that a buyer is going to make. And so we're going to talk about how we can avoid making the common mistake. We're going to talk about how to avoid making the common mistakes that most home buyers make when they actually try to go and purchase a home. And these tips could actually save them quite a bit of money. In general, the buyers need to kind of slow down, sit back, and think about it. And it's hard to do that when you have emotion in the way. I've seen buyers just grab, go under contract with one of my listings, getting so excited, they get caught up in the emotion and caught up in the competition. And then they start thinking about it and going, oh, maybe not, maybe not. Oh, maybe I wasn't planning on how I was going to finance this, right? And that's a problem because the seller doesn't know. The seller has their house off the market. And then when the seller goes back on the market, everybody thinks there's something wrong with the house. It actually hurts the seller to go through that. That's why we actually vet our buyers very, very carefully. We want to make sure, A, they have the financial ability to buy the home and they want a home like that. And then we help them get the home. Looking at a home is what buyers really like to do. It's fun. That's why builders put up model homes all the time. But we can also help our buyers get the best financing. Not every lender is the same. We're connected with a lender that can provide financing, and even people with kind of lower on the low end credit scores get them into homes and with a small down payment. So having your financial house in order to buy a property is actually something that enables you, when you negotiate as a buyer, to carry a big stick, to negotiate from a position of strength. And also it gives that home buyer options to pick the best homes at the best price. If you're just getting in the home to get into a home, you may regret it. And we saw this back when it was booming and every buyer was very engulfed in a bidding war on every single home. Many times buyers had to pony up an extra 50, 100,000 just to purchase homes at that time. They were going for any home. And I got multiple calls after that ended from buyers saying, yeah, we bought this home because the market was so hot. And we're like, we don't like it. We want to sell it. And the problem was they didn't have any equity yet. It takes time to build equity. So we have a process for our home buyers. It's very careful. We make sure we get them the best homes, the best financing, and we give them a front row seat to the homes that are not available online. So if you're interested in that, give us a call at 719-301-1802. We have our top buyer agents standing by to help buyers. We offer what's called a free VIP home buyer service, and it gives them this insider access to homes not online and the best education about the home buying process. There's so many landmines in the process. It's not like buying a car. You actually have to go and learn about the house and make sure whatever contract you get in with, you have to research the home, do an inspection, find out everything about it, make sure you're comfortable with things like whatever the rules are in the neighborhood. All these things you have to consider. But the start of the process typically is the buyers fall in love and go, oh my God, I love it. Okay, I'm going to go under contract. And then the process starts rolling. So this is part of what we do with our buyers is we give them a really good education of what they can expect. Plus they get update videos from me all the way along about where they're at and what they can expect next. I remember I was talking to my hairdresser, and her family bought their first house just a few years ago during the boom. They didn't do an inspection. They had to waive the inspection to get the house. And after they bought the house, they found a lot of problems with it. The agent didn't tell them anything about the process. They didn't know anything. They were just told, okay, go to closing. And they showed up and There was no planning in advance, no getting them prepared for that momentous event in their life of purchasing their first home. But the agent did show up at closing and walked away with a giant check. In fact, out in front of the title closing office, her and her husband are both in their fancy cars, and he gave her a big hug with the check in her hand, and they drove off, and she never heard from him again. That is the normal thing that happens in real estate right now. And that whole thing is going to turn on its head here in just about a month, when no longer is a commission going to be offered to a buyer's agent through the MLS, and they're actually going to have to present their value and negotiate their fee. And I think it's the best thing that could have ever happened to the real estate industry. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb has the buyer's team, and I'm the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about how buyers find the best homes and the best deals in Colorado. And next up, we're going to talk about how we can guarantee front of the line access to the best homes that are not easily found online. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, host of the program and the proprietor owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you are thinking of making a move, call Barb 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Barb, what are some other things that home buyers should consider to find the best homes for sale right here in Colorado?
Well, I hate to tell you this secret, Richard, but what most agents do is they set up an automated search from the MLS once they get connected with the buyer, and they give their buyers access to homes that they already have access to. So there's no, it's like, why do I need you? I can just go to Zillow and go see that home, you know? So I think there's going to be a lot of questions asked about what does a buyer agent really do? Now, we do something completely different. We don't approach it that way. We're not going to just, set them up an automated search and hope it works out. We're actually actively trying to find that home that they articulate that they're looking for. That's what we do. And most agents don't do it that way. A lot of agents will pick some homes to show and go out and show them 5 or 6, and then they'll try to disparage the ones that they don't want to sell and talk up the ones that they do want to sell. And the internet has changed things and put the buyer in the driving seat. And so the buyers nowadays are picking the homes that they want to see based on the online presentation. There's so much information online. They don't really need that. They need guidance in the process. And I see that's a big kind of gap in the skills set of most real estate agents. I get contracts all the time on my listings. It's obvious for me, they don't even understand the boxes that they're checking in the contract. It's just clear to me they don't understand what they're doing. And it's sad. They should be trained properly. We definitely train our agents the right way. But one of the things we do for buyers and make sure that, first of all, these buyers are getting priority access to homes that are not online, because sometimes those represent the best deals. We had one seller that wanted to sell his home quick. He wanted to price it very realistically, and we actually walked multiple buyers through that home, and he ended up getting a good buyer. We also give them access to homes that they also cannot find online, like distress sales, bank foreclosures, homes that recently reduced their price. We'll give them that kind of data because many times those are motivated sellers. And more importantly, is they get access to these off-market properties that are really hard to find, and most agents don't know how to find it. And the way we start the process is we just sit down with the buyer, we find out, we interview them, we have a checklist that we go by just like a pilot, and we find out what's most important to them and really narrow that search to find the perfect home. So if you are thinking of making a move and you'd like to get our free VIP buyer service, call 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And if you are thinking of making a move, call Barb 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. This discussion dovetails in with the next topic. When we come back, we're going to be talking about selling your home for more money and at the right price and with less hassle. Stay tuned for that.